Do you want to hear something crazy? In the last 40 days, we've made £12,960 for a brand new exterior cleaning business in the northwest of England, which, by the way, is not the wealthiest area, with brand new operatives, with just 3 core services: gutter cleaning, roof cleaning, solar cleaning. We've spent £3,000 on ads, and we've achieved a 4.32 ROAS, return on ad spend, with that £3,000, which is quite incredible. And again, all of this is just within the first 40 days. So I'm showing you this proof not to brag, but just to show that I know what I'm talking about, and that we know what we're talking about, and that this actually works. All of this to tell you that you can actually build a local service business that generates thousands of pounds a month, and you can do that today. You don't need an established presence, you don't need prior experience, and you can start this in any service business that you can think of. And the reason for that is because the market is fractured. There's a lot of one-man bands with a logo that think they're a big business that don't provide a great service, and you can easily improve upon what they're doing, especially with these lessons that I'm about to share with you. So there's a lot of other videos you could watch that would tell you how to make lots of money, like £100,000 a month doing some ChatGPT thing, or lazy ways to make money online. These kind of videos, they're not telling you how to make money, they're just talking about making money. And if they were making this kind of money, they would be just doing that. They wouldn't be making videos about how to make money on ChatGPT. But if you really want to learn to make money, we think that the perfect industry for you would be a local service business, because it's an untapped market and that people aren't doing well enough in the industry. And there's a huge potential there for you to come in and build a really strong brand and a really strong business that makes you hundreds of thousands of pounds, just like we're going to achieve with our businesses, with our franchise network. So before we made £12,960 in 40 days, it wasn't like this. So you can see here, this is our logo. But 2 years ago, we've got it as a little baby Yeti. 2 years ago, we had 0 earnings, but we had big plans and we were very ambitious. We thought, we're just going to smash this. We're going to make loads of money. This market is open and we're going to just reap the rewards. So our goal was pick a profitable service, get cheap leads and customers, automate everything that we could, and learn absolutely everything we can about the industry. And after 2 years, thousands of hours of work, 75,000 spent on Facebook ads, and 50,000 spent on custom technology. So we cracked it and learned exactly what not to do, and therefore we learned exactly what to do. And this video is all about how you can do the exact same and learn from our mistakes and make a profitable local service business for yourself that reaches the 6 figures. That's our goal. That's on track. That's what we're on track to do. And if you're interested in making a lot of money in an industry that's fragmented, then this is the video for you. So what are those 6 lessons that you need to learn to make money in the local service industry? Let me go through them quickly. So pick the low-hanging fruit. So this refers to your primary service. Essentially, we're helping you pick the exact service that works best for you for starting out, that will earn you a 2x ROAS or 2x ROI from the get-go. After that, we want to scale into higher ticket. So we want to quickly as we can, launch a high ticket service that's going to make us a lot of money. Third is don't rely on paid ads. You might think 4 and 3 should be switched. Kickstart with ads. You might think that we should learn about ads before we learn about not relying on them. But actually, there's a particular reason why we have it in this order, and you'll learn this as we go through the presentation. So 4, kickstart with ads. So a lot of people think that ads are really complicated and that you have to spend a lot of money to make money back and that you have to spend hundreds of hours looking at YouTube videos. It's not like that. This video will tell you exactly how to create ads like in a legitimate way. Practically create image ads that generate leads easily. You're just going to be astounded how easy it is to do this. 5 is automate everything. This is something that we knew that we wanted to do from the start, and we've done it, and it's paid huge dividends. It can save you tens of thousands of pounds, and we'll explain exactly how you can automate every process within your business. And 6 is that we learned that you need to hire people to get to 6 figures. There's no getting around it. The local service industry is all about personnel and hiring good hires and having them do great work. And we'll explain exactly how you can scale to that once you've developed your primary service, your secondary service, you've got your ads working, you've automated everything, and now you're ready to hire people. So this is what people get wrong when they start in a local service business. They're either working a lot for little profit, or they're working for a high profit, but they haven't got any work. So if you imagine spraying kitchens, right? So this is, you spray kitchens a different color, and it's quite in mode now. It's quite popular. Lots of people get it done. You can charge a good amount, but it's a lot of expertise. You have to spend thousands of pounds on learning how to actually spray these kitchens. You could watch a YouTube video, but you're probably not going to do as good a job as the local competition. The problem is that the cost of lead is high, and the service cost is high too, but you're not going to get enough leads to actually scale that business from a standing start. It's not a good, you don't want to go very high ticket, essentially. The other thing people do is they go too low ticket. So something like window cleaning, which is maybe £15 a job. If you're spending £10 on ads and then you're converting even all of them, then you're only making £5 a clean. Even though that's recurring, you get your windows cleaned every 4 to 6 weeks, maybe. It's still too low a cost, and it'll take you too long to scale that business. So how do we pick a service that actually works from the get-go, that's easy to do, that we don't need a lot of expertise, but it still makes a bit of money? How do we work that balance? So there is a better way, and it's lesson one, and it's picking the low-hanging fruit. So you only need one service to start with, and you can't start with more. You need to start with one because you need to become an expert in that service. You need to know it in and out. So what's the ideal low-hanging fruit service in your industry, in the area that you want to start in? So it should be a high demand service, meaning that everyone needs it within that area, ideally. It should be low expertise, meaning that you don't have to learn a lot to actually fulfill it. Obviously, it needs to be easy to fulfill, so it doesn't take a long time, and it needs to be profitable, so at least 2 ROI. ROI meaning return on investment. So how did we identify which service we wanted to start with? So we followed that procedure, right? So high demand, low expertise, easy to fulfill, profitable. All homeowners have gutters on their house, and it's a fact. All homeowners need to get them cleaned every 12 months. So we already know that the market is fragmented, meaning that there's not enough people to actually serve the community, to serve the customers. And obviously gutter cleaning, easy to fulfill, 40-minute. Profitable, definitely. It's £80 an average clean, £25 conversion. So that's why we picked gutter cleaning. So it's high demand, low expertise, easy to fulfill, profitable. So something like window cleaning, something like spraying kitchens, which is something that's very popular right now, where you get your kitchen sprayed a different color. Those things are the wrong service for different reasons that I've already explained. But gutter cleaning falls into that category really nicely. Again, high demand. It's very in high demand. Everyone with a home needs it. It is low expertise. You just need to learn how to use a gutter vac. It's easy to fulfill. It only takes 30-40 minutes, and it's profitable. It's £25 a conversion, £80 a clean. That's £55 profit per 40 minutes. Not bad. So the thing is, what a lot of companies do wrong is they do a great job, and then they say goodbye customer, and then the customer walks off into the sunset, never to be seen again. That's not how we want to treat our business. The service business is all about building a customer list of people that you deliver value to consistently over time. If you're not delivering value to them consistently, and you're not doing jobs for them often, then you're essentially just a man in a van with a logo. So the point I'm trying to make here is that if you own a business and you have customers, you don't want to let them go. You want to reservice them. You want to get them to give you reviews. You want to spend time with that customer, because he can give you more work in the future from referrals. You can retain that customer. You can get that customer to get the gutters cleaned every 12 months. If you stress the importance of that, even 6 months, and that's all about developing the offer. You don't want to let the customer go, but it's what I see every man in a van do. They just do one-off jobs, and they don't treat the customer with enough respect and understand exactly the potential of that customer. But hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll understand exactly why you want to spend a lot of time with your customers developing that relationship. So this is the punchline. They trust you, and they want you to do more stuff. And the more stuff you do for them, the more they'll trust you. And hence, the more they'll want you to do more stuff. So that's the gist of it. So once you've mastered your initial service, then you should have a 2 to 3 ROI service business. Congratulations. That's a pretty good start. It's a really good start. And from here, we can build on this and build this into, ideally, £100,000 plus business over the next 6 lessons. So lesson 2 is scale into higher ticket. So this is where you want to pick your higher ticket item and develop your business. So we're starting small, we're learning fast, and then we're scaling into that premium service, which is, in our case, roof cleaning. So the simple fact of higher ticket equals higher earnings per job. So the secondary service needs to make you a lot of money. That's just the one requirement of this secondary service. It should easily be a 3 ROI service. So how do we figure out which service to pick? So it's basically that you flip the initial service on its head, the criteria, right? So it's a smaller audience. It's not a big audience like gutter cleaning. It's higher ticket, not like the lower ticket item of gutter cleaning, and obviously more expertise. So at this point, you've got the time on your hands to actually develop your knowledge of a secondary service, and you also have the experience in the previous service. So you've got a foot in the door essentially. So again, let's look at roof cleaning. So in this graphic, you can see that roof cleaning is towards the center. And if you imagine everything towards the center means that it's more expensive, essentially, because the more you niche down into smaller services, generally speaking, the more that service costs. So you can see roof panel cleaning there, and you can see there's an overlap between roof panel cleaning and roof cleaning, and then a huge overlap, obviously, between gutter cleaning and roof cleaning, because everyone does gutter cleaning. But a lot of people that get their roof cleaned would also want solar panel cleaning. So that's something to consider. But really, you want to just focus on one secondary service, and then you could develop into further ones. But it's all about getting expertise in the service and then knowing exactly how it works, making as much profit, and then going into the next service. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with lots of services. You want to focus on that second service, become an expert, make as much money as you can, and then you can move into secondary services or tertiary services in this case. So again, roof cleaning, low demand, less people go for it, higher expertise. You need a license to use biocide, which is a course that you have to take. You probably have to take a course on cleaning the roof. There's a lot of intricacies on the actual way that you clean a roof, and there will be in any service. The process is really quite important for you to understand, and for it to be a process that actually provides great value and a good cost for you. So you're not taking ages to do it, but it is providing huge value. Obviously, it's a longer process. So it's one plus days to clean a roof. It can be anywhere from 8 to 15 hours, and even higher if you're cleaning mansions and whatnot. And obviously, it's extremely profitable, right? So £50 a conversion, if not less for us, we've seen that there's actually huge demand for roof cleaning. So that kind of breaks the mold a bit there. But £900 an average clean. So that's £850 a day, which is really, really good money for anyone. So again, this takes actual effort. You have to become the expert. You have to get the experience. You have to build that offer. And that offer is difficult to build. It is difficult. You have to have business experience to build a compelling offer. But hopefully the gutter cleaning or whatever your primary service was gives you that experience for you to develop upon and then build a really solid offer. The thing with gutter cleaning is, generally the primary service, is that there's not going to be a lot to build on because it's just a service people need and want, and you're just going to fulfill it, and you don't need an expert for it. But for this, you need an expert, and people are looking for expertise because they're shelling out a lot of money. So you really do need a compelling offer. And then finally, you need to be able to convert that lead, which means you've had experience talking to customers, you know what they want, you know the pain points, and you know how to convert that lead, which again is a tall order. But you'll learn this stuff as you develop your business. So there's a gap in the market, clearly. There's a lot of one-man bands. There's a lot of man in a van with a logo type people that pop up out of nowhere, start doing roof cleaning, start doing gutter cleaning, start doing kitchen spraying, window cleaning. And they disappear because they've not been able to make it work, and they cease to be a company anymore because they weren't able to make as much money as they expected. The difference between you and them is that you're a business owner, you've figured out what works, you've met the demands of the market, and you're providing an excellent service that no one else is able to do. And from there, everything just compounds and you improve your business, and then you really are the market leader in your local territory. And that's quite a great opportunity, that you have the ability to become a market leader. And it's not always the case in most industries. That's why this industry is such a great industry to try and break into. So now you've developed your second service, you'll be dedicating like 10 to 20% of your time doing this secondary service that pays you a lot more than your primary service. And that's what's going to allow you to go from 2 ROI to 3+ ROI easily. And 3 ROI is quite important, means that you've succeeded in your business if you have a 3 ROI business. For every £1 you put in, you return to £3 back, and you can consistently make that money. That's what makes you a lot of money. That's what makes people millionaires, essentially. 3+ ROI. So an interesting thing to know with our business, Yeti Clean, is that when we started with gutter clean, we did this exact thing. This is why these lessons are so important, because it's our exact roadmap to how we've built our business so quickly and expanded so quickly. So we started with gutter cleaning and we got that 2 ROI and we developed it and we pushed it further. We've gotten about 2.5 ROI on the gutter cleaning. But then we found when we introduced roof cleaning, our secondary service, that there was a huge demand for it. And we'd already developed the trust and we'd already developed the actual salesmanship and all the other things that I talked about, the expertise, etc. That when we came to build that offer, we actually saw a huge increase in ROI, a silly increase in ROI. So to start with, we just offered roof cleaning on our website. And we found that actually when people went for a gutter clean, 10% of them went for a roof clean as well, which is kind of crazy. And also, because we developed the offer so well, we got the same amount of conversions, basically, if not more, of the roof cleans as the gutter cleans, which was really interesting and really great for us because that 2x our ROI instantly just by offering it on the website without any advertising. And then secondly, if you just then ask people, do they want a roof clean quote when you're on the job for gutter cleaning, that can increase it another 10%. And then that's going to potentially 3x our income, 3x our ROI without any advertising. So it really is quite an incredible thing to master is your secondary service. So lesson 3 is don't rely on paid ads. And there's a good reason that's before kickstarting your business with ads, because you need to know this stuff ahead of doing ads and you'll find out why soon. If you've gotten this far, here's the real secret. There's actually 3 things that will determine if you succeed in this industry. So you want to be a nice guy, you want to do a good job, and you want to be available to your customers. So that sounds really obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people don't actually listen to that advice, don't actually operate in this way. So I can explain this with a story, right? So back when we just started building Yeti Clean, we'd previously looked at kitchen spraying, which I mentioned earlier, because it's a great service and it has high demand and high income. But it was just a bit too complex for us for our first service business, our service franchise network. But we'd heard from a friend that their uncle actually ran one of these businesses and they were inundated with leads and people wanting his service. So I thought this guy must be a genius. Like, what is he doing that no one else is doing? But when I looked at his website, it was actually really, really basic. It was really old. He didn't offer an instant quote. His prices were industry average. So he wasn't doing the bottom of the barrel technique of, I'm going to do this really cheap and just work my ass off and try and make a bit of money. So what was this guy doing that was different? And how could we copy this in our business model and get inundated with leads without having to pay for them? Because this guy was getting leads just from referrals and reviews, and he wasn't even running any ads at the time, which is crazy. But when you look at his Google My Business listing and all of his social media, it was just full of 5-star reviews, happy customers, and people commenting what a great job he'd done for them. So this is the exact lesson. That really is the secret sauce, right, of not relying on paid ads if you want to grow, is just be a good guy, do a good job, and always be available. That's it. That's the 3 lessons you need, and that's what made him grow organically. Now, there is a caveat to this story that it actually took 3 years to get him to this place, 2-3 years for him to get to the point where he's inundated with leads. That's because he started with his friends and family, and he just started doing a good job for people, and then that spread word of mouth, and good on him. He did it. That might not sound like a business strategy, but that's an incredibly good business strategy. It's just what we want to do is kickstart the business, which I'll get onto later. We want to kickstart it with paid ads and then grow organically so we can get the best of both worlds. But just to stay on topic, how do we actually squeeze every drop of value from the customer so we can generate those organic leads and organic conversions? So this is the secret sauce behind being a good guy and doing a good job and always being available, right? This is what comes from that. This is your reward. The reward is that you get retentions, which means that you're going to get people stay and they're going to repeat the service. For example, gutter cleaning, you need that done every 12 months. If you get a bad job from a guy in a van and he just wasn't a nice guy, then you're not going to want to get your gutters clean from him again, even if you did a good job. Or if you get a bad job and he's a nice guy, you're still not going to want to get a job from him again. So the point is that we actually do these things, do a good job, and then we get people retaining our services. Because when I go to ask, do you want me to come back and clean your gutters in 12 months? He's going to say yes if he was happy with the service. He's going to say no if he wasn't. So that's what you're going to get. That's your reward. Then you have reviews, referrals, and resells, which is essentially upsell. We put it as R so we could keep it all 4 R's, but upselling additional services, i.e. your secondary service, your high ticket service. If you develop trust in your initial service, then that's when you can go and ask for lots of money for your high ticket services. So let me explain these in detail. So I've explained retention. You don't want one-offs. You want forever customers. You want customers that trust you and that want to get the service done every single time. If your service isn't a retention thing, then don't worry. You got 3 other ways that you can develop trust in your customers to generate more leads organically. So referrals, obviously, right? You made someone happy. Guess what? They know people. They're going to tell you about your service. It works the opposite way around as well. Guess what? They know people. You've done a bad job. They're going to tell you people that you've done a bad job. And that's going to be anti-referrals, essentially. You're going to lose money for doing a bad job. And that's just the way of the world. People communicate, and we're in the business of people. So you have to adhere to these rules. So reviews, if you're asking people for reviews, if you're doing such a good job, people naturally give you reviews. Reviews get you more customers. Simple. So the more that you do, the more reviews you're going to get on these platforms like Google My Business, Facebook. The more that you get of those, the more people are going to see those reviews. If you have 50 plus reviews on your Google My Business and everyone else has 12, you're at the top of that listing. So that's compounding. And the thing is with these 4 R's is that this is compounding growth. Organic growth is compounding. If I spend £1,000 on ads and then I make back £3,000, I can only ever spend 1,000 and make 3,000. I can spend 10,000 and make 30,000, but I'm always limited to that 1-to-1 ratio. But if I get 10 reviews every month, then by the time I've got 50, I'm getting twice as many reviews as when I had 25, and when I've got 100, I'm getting like 4 times, 5 times. This is the idea of compounding growth. And compounding growth exists within the 4R structures and with organic growth. So resale, we've already talked about this one. They bought one thing, they'll buy more. So if you've done a great job and followed up, 10 to 20%, that's what we've found, will want to buy another service. And we only have that second service that we're currently upselling or reselling. When we add more services, people are just going to want so many things done in terms of exterior cleaning. And with that, we doubled our ROI, like we said. So that's just from literally offering the service and upselling the service when we're on the job or when we're on the phone. And all of these things might sound like you're coercing the customer, but genuinely, if you build trust with the customer, they're going to want these things. And all we're doing is asking. There's no hard selling in this equation. We're just asking if they want this stuff, and they're going to say yes or no. And if they say no, big whoop. If they say yes, great. So this is how you build your brand locally in your area. It's not with flyers and coupons and all of this stuff. It's with just doing a good job and then turning those paid customers into retained customers, into customers that review, into customers that refer, and customers that resell or essentially upsell, buy more products off you, buy more services off you. We just want to keep these customers in the loop, in this organic growth loop, so that we can benefit in the long run. So that is how you build organically. And best of all, it's free. It just requires hard work and doing a quality service. So lesson 4, the dreaded kickstart with paid ads. So a lot of people are terrified of ads and they research them endlessly and watch 1,000 videos of how to start an ads campaign on Google or Facebook. I'm here to tell you that it's not that difficult. People make it way too complicated. I'm going to explain in detail why that is. But like I say, it's not the be all and end all. Your paid ads are it's just a tool. It's just a thing that you do. It's just something that you spend on and then you get leads back. So it's really not as complicated as you think. So all that you need with paid ads is to be able to show quality of your work, to be able to show how reliable you are, and then also to have a reasonable price for the market. So I want to preface this by saying you really do want to give an instant quote where possible. And this will come under the automation stuff later. But if you're able to do that, then you are going to get more leads. You are going to get more conversions. And then secondly, which I'm going to talk on later as well, is that you need to call them back immediately. Speed to lead is king. This is the saying that you want drilled into your brain. Speed to lead. Call them back within 5 minutes. If someone's looking for a gutter clean or a kitchen spray, they're calling up multiple businesses, right? You're not special. There's nothing special about your business to them if they've never seen you before. You're just another brand, just another website. They're getting quotes off absolutely everyone and their mother. And what they're going to do after they've got the quotes or after they've called up is they're going to decide on someone, and they're probably going to decide within the next hour. So you need to get onto them instantly and get that lead. Otherwise, you're going to lose 50% of these people. That is not a functional business if you're not able to call these people back. So don't be lazy, call them back instantly, as soon as you can, convert the lead and get them booked in as soon as possible. So your market is in two places that you care about. It's on Google Ads and it's on Facebook Ads. They're looking on Google for a service, or they're on Facebook and they're discovering a service. So the idea with discovering a service is if someone sees a gutter cleaning ad and they remember that they needed to get their gutters cleaned, but they haven't done it, then they're going to get a quote. They're searching for it on Google, or they forgot they needed it and they saw it on Facebook and then they got a quote. The benefit of Facebook when it comes to bigger ticket items is that you can do really, really interesting, cool marketing, which I'm not going to get into. It's very complicated. That requires a bit of skill, but this stuff, primary service, very easy to advertise for. That second service, you can do some really interesting ads and essentially allow them to discover the opportunity of cleaning their roof. Because Facebook is discovery, you can show them some really interesting things about your high ticket services that could actually turn them on to getting that service. Whereas if they didn't think they wanted the service, they wouldn't be searching on Google in the first place. So you can create customers kind of from nothing on Facebook, which is a really exciting opportunity for the future for you. So Facebook ads, there's three things that you need. The first is quality. So you need to be able to prove that you have quality service. And you can do that with a before and after picture generally, depending on your service. You can do that with just after pictures. You just want to show that you can actually do what you say you do and make it a sort of scroll stopping image that's going to be like, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to look more into this. Secondly, reasonable price. Very easy, right? You just stick £75 minimum price on the actual ad, and then you stick gutter cleaning above it. This in itself will get you hundreds of leads. Like, we've tested this. Ugly ads work. Good for us. Easy to make. You can make them in batch. You can test lots of them. If you put an ad up like this would get you leads. And this works in any industry that's got a service that people just need, that they've forgotten, that they've not done. It catches people's attention because it looks like something that's a regular post. Then they realize it's an ad. Then they realize that they need to get their gutters cleaned. And then they realize these people are giving a quote and it's a reasonable price. I'm going to get a quote. So you can mix and match these. So you've got quality and reliability here. So testimonial is a really good way to show that you're reliable, because it's not you saying that you're reliable. It's someone else, a real person, and it shows a 5-star. And you can screen grab these off of Google My Business or off of Facebook and put them on top of your before and after with a program like Canva really quickly, really easily. You can mix and match them and just test what works. And you will find stuff that works and you will get leads really cheap. So here's an example of a bit more of a complex ad. It doesn't look that complex, but it's got this £75 or £70 sticker in this case. And that's actually just photoshopped on. Don't tell anyone. And then you got that quality gutter clean where it's clean and sparkle, where it's sparkling afterwards. And you've got that testimonial. So you're showing quality, price and reliability in this. And this is an ad that we actually ran that worked really well for us. So what do you put in terms of the copy? You want to call out your audience, Manchester homeowners in this case. It's generally always going to be homeowners if you're working with home services and exterior cleaning type stuff. And then you want to show availability. And that's quite a complex thing to work out. So availability is a bit of a vague idea. But essentially we're saying get your gutters cleaned before summer. And that means that you were available to clean your gutters before summer, and that you should get your gutters cleaned before summer. And that's a really good hook in the top of the fold on Facebook. Obviously, you need to put more information below, but it's pretty copy-paste for this type of service. You can find ads on Ads Library, Facebook Ads Library, and then you can just copy that. You stick it in ChatGPT if you want, and then get it to change it for your particular service or your particular brand. But this is how you do Facebook ads, and this will work, and it's not complicated, especially for your primary service. When it comes to secondary services, higher ticket items, it's an offer. You're not selling a convenient service that costs a few quid that you need to get done. You're selling a high ticket service and you need to put a lot of effort in. But once you get to that point, you'll have the expertise to be able to do that. And also, you've already got a business here that's generating a lot of money just with your primary service. Obviously, on top of this, you need a website, and you do need a website, but you don't necessarily need a website when you first begin if you use Facebook, because what Facebook has, it has instant forms, and instant forms are just forms like you'd have on a website, but on Facebook. And you can use those instant forms to generate leads and call them up, and they won't convert as high because there's less intent, because if they just clicked on a form, they can really easily fill that in, and then they can forget that they actually did it. But you will convert a lot of those instant forms if you want to start really, really bare bones. Your business could literally just be one ad on an instant form on Facebook, and you could build it from there. So the benefit of having a really good website, which I'm going to touch on later, is that you can offer instant quotes and you can offer bookings on the website. Now that's really technical, but you can develop that in the future, and there are tools that can do that, and I'll go into detail on that later. So for Google, it's really, really simple, especially for your primary service. So you just need to put in the location, the actual cost of the service, the lowest cost, and additionally, you can add valuable stuff like we offer before and afters, or just unique things that your service offers that other people don't. They'll get people to click on that link and get people to convert. Now, when they come to the website, you need to make sure that it's a high converting website. So this is why Google ads are a bit harder in terms of local businesses than Facebook ads, because Facebook, you can kind of get leads extremely easily just with instant forms. But if you put in the effort to learn how to make a high converting website, it's going to pay dividends for the rest of your business journey. Like, it is the one thing that you need in terms of a presence online is a really quality website. So after saying all this, what you want to do when you've set everything up, you want to test endlessly until you get it to work. Once it's working on Google Ads. Once it's working on Facebook, it's probably going to fall off because Facebook, it fatigues. You've got a small audience. You're presenting them the same image over and over. So you're going to have to update those ads every potentially month to 6 months, depending on the ad. That can be a pain in the ass, but it's part of the job. And the opportunity is huge. And the image ads are simple, super simple. And you can produce lots of those really easily, especially if you're doing lots of before and afters, you're doing lots of photos and you're getting lots of reviews. You kind of have an unlimited source of creative right there with this really simple process that I've given you. So again, speed to lead, I can't stress this enough. This is the most important thing. Your business could die on this. If you're not calling them up instantly, then it's your fault your business is failing, and it probably will fail. You'll probably lose out on 50% of your customers because you haven't called them up and they've gone with someone else. That's just the name of the game. And if you can't do that, don't get into this industry, because you need to be hardworking, ambitious, and on top of your leads. And to add to this, even if you have like a book-in on your website where they can get a lead and book in, you still want to call the lead. You still want to make sure that they're happy with the date. The book-in is a way of developing trust and showing off essentially to the customer that look how great our website is, look how convenient it is. But then you need to make sure that you're talking to the customer and converting that customer manually as well. Because what we're trying to do is build a customer list. We're not just trying to do one-off cleans, like I've said. We're not a man in a van, we're a business. And this is how we have to operate in this industry. So lesson 5 is automate everything. And this is something that we knew that we were going to do from the get-go, because we know how powerful technology is. And we also know that everyone's extremely lazy. They haven't got the time to take a call anymore. They haven't got the time to wait for an instant. They definitely don't have the time for someone to come around and give them a quote. Don't do that. That doesn't exist anymore. You have to figure out a way to get them the quote instantly. And generally that's with automations and that's with technology. And that is going to be a cost. It's going to be a cost in terms of software. It's going to be a cost in terms of developing it yourself. And if you develop it yourself, we've spent easily £50,000 on developing all these automations and all these systems. But what we developed is one CRM that does all the stuff for them, keeps the diary, it takes in leads automatically, it books them in automatically. Along with the website, it interacts with the website. It's just a completely behemoth piece of technology that just outmatches any other sort of software available that we could have gone with, and it obviously outmatches anything that anyone else is using in the industry. But it's so critical, that stuff, because you just don't have the time to be converting these leads completely manually. In the beginning, you can make money by manually converting these leads, but it's not something that's sustainable forever. When you start, it's a proof of concept. You want to prove that this works, and then you want to get everything automated so that you're earning good money. You're not missing up. You're not forgetting that you have a clean on a certain day because everything's automated. Your calendar's automated. You need to automate everything. Otherwise, you're spending a lot on admin, or you're just missing out on lots of work and lots of customers because you weren't able to get to them quick enough. So if you want to beat 99% of local businesses, I'd argue that's 100% of local businesses, and do it on autopilot. Don't just hire more people, automate everything, let the machine run 24/7 while your competitors sleep, and just win this game. So how do we do this? There's 4 steps to doing this. So you got speed, reliability, efficiency, and easy, or like ease of use to the customer. So speed. People don't have the attention span anymore. So if you think about Amazon and Netflix, they've made it so easy to instantly buy something that people don't buy anything on any other websites because it's just so convenient to use Amazon. Like, my entire setup here is all bought off Amazon, and it took me about 5 minutes. I researched for 5 minutes, and then I bought all the equipment, the camera setup, everything. It was very easy, and I'm not going to go to just some little website that's got a slower process and I have to talk to someone, and it's just too much. So if you can make your website instant checkout style Amazon, then perfect. That's exactly what you want. And also think about Netflix. You used to have to wait till 9 p.m. to watch, I don't know, Doctor Who or whatever show you watched. Or you used to have to wait to watch Corrie. I suppose you still have to wait to watch Corrie. But most people are watching Stranger Things the entire season in one night because Netflix made it TV on demand. So everything is just super convenient now. So think about it in terms of our website. If someone was on their phone looking to get a quote, they're not going to want to call someone up. They're going to want to get an instant quote. So that's exactly what we offered. You just think about what your customer wants and make it as easy as humanly possible to do so. There's 3 different fields on this form to get an instant. The second bit of the form just asks for the information which we need to actually give them the quote and also to follow up with the lead. So you've got house type, postcode, and address. If you pick detached postcode, put that in, the address will pop up, and then you can put in the address, and then you click next, put in your information, and then we text them and we email them a quote. Once they get a quote, they can decide to book in. They can also just book in on the website. That's incredibly easy. That's Amazon style of fulfillment right there. And people are just going mad for it. And that's why we're getting so many leads and conversions. So automation is huge, and you really need to pay attention to it. So reliability. People don't want hassle. They want certainty, right? So if they've booked in, they get to a page that says, thank you for booking in. But we also send them an email to confirm that they've booked in. We put it into the operative's diary that they have to do the clean on this date that they've booked in. So it's reliable. There's no admin person that's got to do this, that's on the phone doing 5 things, that's going to forget to book in a clean. So this allows you to actually not worry about everything else, turn up on time, get happy customers, get those amazing reviews, and then get that organic growth, which we talked about previously, really easily without worrying about absolutely everything else that you don't want to be worrying about as a business owner. So again, automation, amazing. Efficiency. You're saving hundreds of man hours, which I said, and you're saving tens of thousands of pounds on salaries. That's money that potentially doesn't exist within this business. And that's part of the reason why this is such a profitable industry to get into, is that you don't have to do all of this stuff anymore. And your competition, they are spending money on these salaries, or they're just doing it themselves, and they're not making as much money, and they're not able to scale as quickly. So this is a complete game changer for anyone with a service industry business. So again, don't need all this staff. No, thank you. That's me, just me. I can do it without any of those people. I can automate everything. Everything's going to be singing and dancing. Customers are very happy. Never forget anything. Everyone's very happy. So you're not cutting anything here. You're just cutting the waste. And again, it makes everything really easy for the customer to actually book in and actually get a great service from you, because people buy what's easy. And that's illustrated with Netflix and Amazon and every other business. Everything's just easy now. Charge you monthly and you just get the service, and there's no talking to anyone. Just make it easy. So how do we want to make it easy for the customer? You want it easy to get a quote, easy to understand the offer, easy to book in, easy to trust you. So again, no other business is doing this. If you do this, you're going to win with automation. Obviously, there's a price involved in automation, but once you get to this point again, you're going to have the time and you're going to have the money to actually implement this stuff. So step 6 is really how you scale this business, right? So what you want to do in this business is you want to start hiring personnel, and you want them to be doing all this work for you. That's how you scale a service industry business. And this is the second part people mess up on, aside from picking the wrong service in the start, is that when they do scale to this size, they end up either not hiring at the right time, or they end up just not hiring and then taking on all the responsibility themselves. This business model is all about delegation, so you have to hire people. So if you do hire people, then you've not got one man in a van. You're no longer a one man in a van operation. You're a 2 man in a van, 3 man in a van. That becomes a serious business, and that's where most people fail, because it's like incredibly difficult to hire people. You'd be surprised how difficult it is to hire people, the right people. That's something that you really need to work at and develop your hiring skills, because a lot of people are time wasters and they will waste your money. Personnel is the biggest spend, and you really need to consider the person that you're hiring. But the good thing is that the market is capable of you making six figures once you do hire those operatives, if you do everything else right. And then it's just a case of, who do I trust to employ to actually fulfill this work? And as I say, very difficult task, but I'm sure that you'll be able to do it once you get to this stage. It's something that we're going to be implementing within the next 3 months with our Northwest franchisee. So at this point, you want to be thinking in decades, not weeks or months. What could this business become now that I've gotten it to this stage? What could it be for me and my family for the future? What's my legacy look like? These are the sort of things that you'll be thinking about at this stage of your journey. So how and when do you hire someone? We hire or replace yourself once you have the expertise and once you're able to actually train that person. So what do you need to know? You need to know what to teach. You need to know who to hire. And you need to know how to lead that person. So this stuff could be in a video unto itself. If you want me to talk more on this particular topic, then leave a comment below and I can make more information on how to actually scale to a six-figure business. But really what you want to be focusing on is that first 5 lessons. Once you've got there, you've got a thriving business. And then this can be a welcome problem that you have to face at some point down the line. So again, that's how you go from cleaning gutters or doing a simple service to owning a business that prints profit every single month. So I hope that's been helpful for you. I hope you've learned stuff from this. I hope you've taken lots of notes. But at this point, thankfully, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to wrap this up. Again, you don't need to be a genius. Just follow the lessons that we've learned through trial and error and avoid spending the thousands of pounds we did on figuring this stuff out, and just analyze this video in depth, and you'll succeed in the business that you're trying to start. So that's how we made our £12,960 in 40 days with a brand new team and no prior experience. If you're serious about starting a business, and you probably are if you're still here at this point, you've probably already figured out that we launched these businesses for franchisees, because I've said it about 5 times. And you might have actually Googled Yeti Clean Franchise, but if you've not, and you're curious about Yeti Clean Franchise and what we do exactly what we've said in this video. We just do it for you, and we kickstart your business, and we take a 10% cut. That's it. There's no hidden additional fees. But I don't want to make this a sales thing. I just wanted this to be an educational piece of content that you could learn about this industry and actually realize that there's actually a great opportunity here to develop any local service business. So if you are interested, just click that link in the description and learn some more about the business. But otherwise, if you want to start your own business, like, this is a great start. If you follow all these lessons, you are going to succeed in whatever you choose. It just takes hard work, and there's no getting around that. Our franchisees still have to work hard. We make it a lot easier for them, but they still have to work hard to succeed. And the barometer for success with the franchisees, the people that do the best, are just the people that work the hardest, which is what we like, because as business owners, we're all a bit mad and we're all very hardworking, and we care about our projects. You can find out how much you could earn year 1, 2, 3. We have projected earnings report, and it's quite a large amount of money, and we're really proud of that. So that's about it for me. If you want me to expand on anything else, just leave a comment and I can expand upon it. I can expand on anything that I've talked about. If you have any questions about anything, just leave a message. But yeah, thank you very much and have a great day. Cheers.